I remember the day it started like it was etched in acid on my brain. It was a crisp autumn morning in Seattle, the kind where the fog clings to the sound like a reluctant lover, and the coffee shops buzz with tech bros pitching their next big idea. I was one of them, or at least I thought I was. At 32, I'd clawed my way up from a cramped apartment in Tacoma to a sleek condo overlooking Elliott Bay, all thanks to a string of savvy investments in startups. My portfolio was my pride. Diversified, aggressive, always one step ahead of the market. But that day, as I sat in the boardroom of Apex Ventures, staring at the pitch deck for Neuralink, something twisted in my gut. Neuralink was the brainchild of Dr. Elias Thorne, a neuroscientist turned entrepreneur with a disarming smile and eyes that seemed to pierce right through you. The tech promised to revolutionize mental health. Implantable chips that could monitor brainwaves in real time, adjusting moods with microdoses of neural stimulation. No more pills, no more therapy, just plug in and feel better. Thorne's demo was flawless. He hooked up a volunteer, and we watched on the screen as the guy's anxiety levels plummeted from red to green in seconds. The room erupted in applause. Partners were nodding, venture capitalists scribbling notes. This was the future, they said. The next unicorn. But as Thorne shook my hand afterward, his palm cool and slightly clammy, that gut feeling hit me like a rogue wave. It wasn't logical, not at first. His credentials checked out. PhD from MIT, patents galore, early trials published in Nature. The financials projected a 500% ROI in 3 years. My head screamed invest, but my stomach churned. There was something off about his delivery, a rehearsed perfection that felt scripted. And those eyes, they didn't blink enough. I ignored it, brushed it off as nerves from my recent divorce, or maybe the double espresso I'd chugged. Intuition, please. I was a data guy. Numbers don't lie. I wired $2 million that afternoon, the bulk of my liquid assets. It was impulsive, but the FOMO was real. Everyone was jumping in, Silicon Valley whales, even a couple of Hollywood celebs. Thorne promised exclusivity for early backers. You'll be part of history, he said, clapping me on the shoulder. I smiled, signed the NDA, and walked out feeling invincible. That night, I celebrated with a bottle of Macallan 18 at my favorite bar, toasting to the gut I'd just silenced. The first cracks appeared a month later. Thorne's updates were sporadic, always glowing but vague. Prototypes exceeding expectations, one email read. FDA fast track imminent. I tried to dig deeper, but my calls went to voicemail. That twisting sensation returned, stronger now, like a warning siren in my abdomen. I confided in my buddy Mark, a fellow investor who'd put in $500,000. You're paranoid, he laughed. This is how startups work. Chaos until the breakthrough. He was right, I told myself. I'd been through this before with my crypto plays. Volatility was the game. But the dreams started then. Vivid ones where I was strapped to a table, wires snaking into my skull, Thorne's face looming over me with that unblinking stare. I'd wake up sweating, heart pounding. Ignore it, I thought. Focus on the metrics. I doubled down, sinking another $500,000 when Thorne announced a bridge round for unexpected R&D costs. My portfolio was now 70% tied to Neuralink. Risky. But high risk, high reward. That's what I chanted as I pushed the gut feeling deeper. 6 months in, the red flags multiplied. A whistleblower article popped up on a niche tech blog. Anonymous, claiming Thorne had faked trial data, that the chips caused seizures in lab animals. I read it thrice, my stomach knotting into a fist. But Thorne's PR team squashed it fast. Competitor smear campaign. Lawsuits threatened. The blog post vanished. I called my lawyer, who advised waiting for proof. Gut feelings aren't admissible in court, he joked. I laughed along, but it felt hollow. By then I'd met Lila. She was Thorne's assistant, introduced at a networking event. Stunning, dark hair, sharp wit, a laugh that cut through the noise. We hit it off over drinks, and soon she was spilling insider tidbits. Elias is a genius, she'd say, but her eyes would dart away. One night, tangled in my sheets, she whispered, Be careful. Not everything's as it seems. My gut screamed then. Get out, pull your money, run. But Lila was warm, distracting. I ignored the warning, chalking it up to her job stress. We dated casually, and I poured more into Neuralink, convinced love and luck were aligning. The unraveling came swift and merciless. It started with a SEC filing glitch. Thorne's company docs listed shell corporations in the Caymans, redolent of fraud. I confronted him at his office, a gleaming tower in Bellevue. Explain this, I demanded, shoving printouts across his desk. He leaned back, that smile never fading. Standard asset protection. You worry too much. But as I left, I overheard him on the phone. Handle the leak. Permanently. My gut lurched, violence. No, couldn't be. Paranoia, right? Well. 2 days later, Mark called in a panic. His office had been burgled. Files on Neuralink stolen. Then Lila vanished. Her phone dead, apartment empty. I drove to Thorne's lab unannounced. Gut in full revolt now. Nausea rising. The place was a ghost town. Equipment gone, servers wiped. Thorne had fled, along with $150 million from investors like me. The FBI got involved. Ponzi scheme, they said. Thorne, real name Elias Thornburg, had a history. Embezzlement in Europe, identity theft. The chips. Bogus prototypes from China, no real tech. The trials. Fabricated. And Lila. An accomplice they suspected. Her warnings were bait to keep me hooked. I lost everything. The condo. Foreclosed. Portfolio. Friends distanced themselves. Nobody wants the stench of failure. My ex-wife sued for back alimony, cleaning out what scraps remained. I ended up in a dingy motel in Tacoma, staring at peeling wallpaper, replaying that first handshake. If I'd listened to that initial twist in my gut, I'd have walked away. But I didn't. I ignored it, chased the dream, and it devoured me. Now, at 33, I'm rebuilding from scratch. Odd jobs. Therapy for the anxiety that Neuralink ironically exacerbated. The regret is a constant companion, sharper than any chip could dull. Gut feelings aren't superstition. They're survival instincts honed over millennia. Ignore them at your peril. Mine cost me everything: wealth, trust, sanity. But maybe, just maybe, this scar will make me listen next time. There is a next time.